What's good, folk? It's your boy Donald King back at it again. You know what? Today I decided we're going to, we're going to give Avatar stuff a break for a bit and get into some things that are a bit more relatable. I was kind of, at first I wanted to go into the subject of relationships, you know what I'm saying? And start unpacking like healthy relationships versus toxic relationships and whatnot. I'm sure that's something all of you all can identify with. But, I decided to go the route of sexuality instead. And the reason for that is because more people are familiar with sexuality than they are with actual relationships. I decided to go in that direction today. As usual, I'm shooting from the hip. It's like I'm not doing something that's like super rehearsed or anything. I'm just describing principles according to how I see and understand them in real time. I might stutter and stammer here. I might miss a word or two or have to double back, but we're going to get to these points. I'm going to get there one way or another. That much I can promise you. Anyway, human sexuality. Human sexuality is weird, man, because, humans are one of the only species, so far as I'm aware, on this planet for whom idealism necessarily factors into procreation. What do I mean by that? Well, it's basically like this, like your preferences and what you like become sort of a gateway you have to pass through in order to get your jiggly bits to start doing the things that they're supposed to, right? It's like let's say for instance, in order for a woman to get wet, something has to inspire her in that way. Sometimes it can be a physiological reaction, but 9 times out of 10, it's sort of a mental barrier she has to pass through in order to get to a place where her body starts responding in that particular way. Same thing with men and erections. It's like, if you have a lot of stuff on your mind or something is distracting from your ability to focus, or maybe something's heavy on your heart, it's like you'll be limp as a wet noodle. Idealism factors into human sexuality. All right? The reason why it's important to understand this is because it explains a lot about things like sexual preference and things of this nature. So, ideals create sort of triggers for people's physiological bits to sort of to start or to go into action. And you have to forgive me as I sort of struggle to or not struggle, but take a couple of seconds to sort of organize my thoughts and words here. So men, for instance, you sit down here and you can create a story inside yourself where you are only attracted to specific types of women. Let's say that you like women with big breasts. Then all of a sudden, every time you see a woman with big breasts, this idea that you're attracted to a woman with big breasts, it gets you hot and bothered. Same thing with fat asses and, sometimes it's full lips. Some dudes like women with long legs. Some dudes love feet. But idealism necessarily factors in to what triggers your body to want to procreate, or at least go through the process, or at least how would I say that? At least triggers your body to want to actually engage in the act, generally associated with procreation. Same thing with women. You can look at a dude and you can be like, oh, I like my big fluffy bears. Or, hey, I want a skinny dude. Or I want a dude with a big dick or a little one or whatever. It's like ideas create barriers to your genitalia and your genitals working properly. This is also something to take into consideration when you, say, for instance, talk about people who are a little bit off of the main line of what's considered to be normalcy. So if you have someone who's like gay or trans or things of this nature, idealism factors into what they're attracted to. Some men like men. Some women like women. Some men like men who transform themselves into women. Same would go for women who transform themselves into men. It's weird because in nature it has to do with scent. It has to do with like experience. Like you inherently understand, hey, this body is meant to for me to hook up with. This body is meant for me to procreate with. And then, other times it's like there are different ways, there are different natural triggers that most animals have to let them know when and where they're supposed to hook up with something. But humans, a lot of it has to do with their ideals. On the darker side of that, you get into something like, say, pedophilia. In your right mind, you inherently know when you look at like a small and vulnerable child that body is not meant for procreation. But see, when you sort of create an inner story and you rely on this inner story, in this inner story, you learn how to project desire onto something that is not meant to be bonded with. It's in the exact same way that a person can develop a sexual attraction to trees or a sexual attraction to different types of animals from within the kingdom of animals, like ideas. Ideas factor into human sexuality. So, why am I talking about all this right now? Well, the biggest problem that I see with humans as a species is they have this terrible habit of trying to define themselves by their preferences. Okay? They try to define themselves by their inner stories and or their identities. Hey, I'm a this because I like that. I'm a this because this is what I'm associated with. On and on down the line. And forgive me, I'm sorry, I'm a bit distracted. Give me one second. All right, cool. So, right now people are fighting for the inclusion of pedophiles into the LGBTQ community, right? The thing is, what you like can't make you a type of person. That has to do with your identity. That has to do with your inner story. Who you feel comfortable allowing to fondle and play with your genitals until you climax, that doesn't make you a type of person. Okay? It just doesn't. So, you can't claim that you're a protected group because of what you like. If you could, then a person could rightfully claim that being, an alcoholic is a sexual preference. Or being a heroin addict is a sexual preference. It gets them the hormones and neurotransmitters that feed their ego parasites. So if you claim that you're a protected group because of what you like, then you open the door for every other person to do that too. Now, it's really interesting because through the majority of my life, I've had this very unfortunate circumstance where for some reason, people have thought that I'm gay. Now, I'm not. From the time I was a very young boy, I knew that I was only into women. But, the point that I'm making by even bringing that into the conversation is that when you... Oh, man, I lost my train of thought. Man, well, that's a bad brain fart. But people, for the good majority of my life, people have always made the mistake of assuming that it's like, I'm gay or whatnot. I'm not. I don't have any problem being around people who are. I don't have any problem with anyone who is, because, again, what you like, it can't make you a type of person. For me, I prefer to be around people who are genuine and authentic and honest. And, what they happen to like is what they happen to like. That has no bearing on me as an individual. Okay. So, the only people who take issue with what someone else does with their bodies are bullies. People who are looking to control others because they're afraid that, someone's going to come along and change their inner story. I mention all of that to say that even though human sexuality is mostly controlled by and filtered through idealism, at the end of the day, it's no one's place to bully someone for what they like. It's no one's place to bully or judge someone else for what the person is attracted to. And it's like, you have to forgive me again. It's like I'm a little off in this one, but it's like, we'll dial it in. We're going to dial it in. So, I'm into women. I've been into women my entire life. I remember when I was about maybe 4 or 5, I was watching my friend Mark's mom. This is kind of weird, but it's like, fuck it, I'm just honest. So I was watching my friend Mark's mom, and they I guess they assume that we're just little kids, so we don't have any sort of feelings in that way. But I remember she started breastfeeding her her younger son at the time, and what ended up happening was it triggered something in me when I was that young. And so all of a sudden I felt this warm, sort of tickly feeling in the bottom of my stomach, and I felt my little junk start to do stuff, and I was like, okay, I don't know what she has going on down there. I don't know what I have going on down here, but I want it. And from that moment forward, I knew that I was into ladies. But I don't know how or why, but for some reason, it's like I always got mistakenly put into this category where people question that. Funny enough, gay dudes never question, or at least most of the gay dudes that I know, they never question whether or not I'm that way. Just straight people are like, yo, man, hey, you use your hands too much when you talk, or what? I don't know what they come up with. But at the end of the day, it's what's good with your Ash, my bro. So I don't know why people are on that, man, but it's like, I don't trip off it too much. And the reason why I don't trip off of it too much is because, again, I'm very confident in who I am. I don't run by an inner story. It's like I'm fairly synced up with reality, and I know that what I'm attracted to in reality is and always has been women. I mean, the hunger is real. But when I'm hanging around dudes who happen to be attracted to dudes, I don't have any issue with it, because I don't have a desire to control what someone else does with their body. This is an example that I like to use when I'm talking about the difference between, men and women and gay stuff and all that other stuff. Jesus Christ, I'm blowing it right now. So, with regards to thoughts on men and sexuality and all those other things, to me, that's kind of like people eating spiders, right? And the concept of like women to me, they're like cake, all right? Now, I myself, I don't want to eat spiders. I don't have any interest in eating spiders. I don't hold anything against people who like eating spiders. You know what I'm saying? But I myself don't want to eat any. But you see, you put this table full of cake in front of me, and it's like, yeah, that looks delicious. I want it. I want that cake. Now, here's the thing. If this person's over here and they're eating their spiders, I'm not going to judge them and be like, oh, you're a terrible person because you eat spiders. You need to eat cake like me. That's being a bully. It's being a coward. Just because someone likes spiders and you don't like spiders doesn't mean that it's like you got to go and persecute them because they like what they like. In the same way that I don't want them to persecute me because it's like I like this table full of cake. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so it's like, here's the way that I look at it. You eat your spiders until you're content. And I'm going to eat my cake until I'm content. And when we're both content, maybe we can come together and just be good to each other. Maybe we can just be decent people to each other when we're both content. So, you know, it's like, if they're like, hey, if you don't mind me eating spiders, sit here and watch me eat spiders. No, I'm not going to sit there and watch you eat spiders because I don't want to eat spiders. To me, eating spiders is gross. But it doesn't mean that it's like I judge you because you like spiders, because what if spiders taste the same, taste to you the same way that cake tastes to me? I eat cake and I'm like, oh man, this is delicious. I love this. This cake is the best. Oh my God. I'm not going to be like, you need to eat my cake because you need to eat this cake because you need to. No, eat your spiders. I'm going to have my cake. And when we're both full and we're both happy, let's come together and be better people. Better people to each other, better people in general. And look, the way that I see it through the avatar perspective, and again, I'm just describing what I see, is reality doesn't give two shits about what people do with their bodies. Humans who want to judge and control and punish other humans want to control what other people do with their body. Okay? As long as you're not using your body as a weapon to harm someone, as long as you're not using your body as a tool to create imbalance to others in the world in general, reality doesn't care. As long as everything is mutual bonding, reality doesn't care whose genitals you play with and who plays with yours. Humans care about that stuff. And again, it all goes back to idealism. It all goes back to idealism. God didn't sit around marking down the times you've thought about a penis, if that's what you're into, if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. It's not sitting here saying, oh, they've allowed this many penises into them, or they've been in this many vaginas. Reality doesn't care about that. I will say this. Reality, so far as I can witness through this perspective here, it does care about bonding. All right? Sex isn't it isn't a sport. When you bond with someone, then you create an overtone value. And I'll explain that to you real quick. So you're not supposed to use your body like it's some sort of recreational device. You know what I'm saying? I prefer to be in situations with women who I can form authentic bonds with. The reason why I prefer that is because it's like when you have bonded sex, that shit is amazing. It's amazing. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, it's the difference between getting snacks from the dollar store, which would be akin to just recreational sex with a bunch of different people, and then having a 5-course meal. If you have to skip a bunch of snacks in order to get a 5-course meal and a 5-star 5-course meal, and you're used to eating good, you're probably going to skip those snacks. So I don't use sex necessarily for recreation, but when I bond with someone, and it's like, I bond with her, then I got a pretty hefty appetite in that way. But yeah, man, human sexuality revolves around idealism. Ideals change according to exposure, according to new experiences and according to new information. Ideas can't remain intact forever. All right? So, yeah, human sexuality is weird. I'm looking for somebody to come in and for me to, I don't know, answer some questions and stuff like that. But, yeah, that's what it basically boils down to. Again, sexuality, it's not as cut and dry as people would think. in nature, everything is mechanical, but with sort of transmuted species like humans, perception factors into it. Perception factors into it, and it makes everything weird and wonky. Gender roles are not a real thing. Gender identity is not a real thing. These things only exist in idealism. They don't exist in reality. You can think that you're a man in your ideal, but you were born with XX chromosomes, and reality recognizes what you are, not how you want to see yourself. Same would apply to a man who wants to see themselves as a woman. In reality, you are a thing. In idealism, you're what you want to be. But idealism necessarily factors into human sexuality, and it makes everything weird and disjointed. So the only thing that matters, though, in the grand scheme of things, is that you don't treat sexuality like it's a weapon. You don't use it to try and injure or humiliate others. You don't use sexuality as a means to work your aggression out. You know what I'm saying? That's basically all I have to offer on the subject right now. I was hoping to get into it a little bit more in depth, but I guess I came here looking for more interaction. I didn't get a lot of it today, but it's all good. I got my man Ash. Yeah, man. It's like maybe next time we can have a more of a discussion on the issue. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. If you sat through this with me, then it's like you're my people, you're my folk. I appreciate y'all, and I'm gonna keep this one a little bit short because I've been trying to work on cutting these down and keeping them fairly low. But anywho, I hope that y'all have a wonderful evening, and yeah, I guess we'll catch up next time. You can always check me out at on my social media sites. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on I'm on YouTube, and I'm also on Medium. Yo, I got my brother Absurd the word. What's good? Hey, what you got? Okay, cool. Yeah, so my brother Absurd writes, he says, do you mind going into detail about reality caring about bond and how bonding creates an overtone? That's an excellent question. Okay, cool. So let's get into that real quick, right? So, where did we go? Bow. Let's get into that real quick. All right, so reality cares about bonding, and this is what I was going to get into in the I guess the relationship segment that I was planning to go into before this one. But everything in reality, it comes down to mutualism. It comes down to bonding. An example that I like to use oftentimes when I'm talking about relationships and bonding, it has to do with music. So, okay, so if you understand what harmony is when two or more notes come together and they produce something called an overtone value, okay? So, for instance, that's C, E. So you got C and E. Now, when C and E play together at the right vibration and the right frequency, and they weren't a little bit sharp as I was right there, then it produces a third value, which is going to be G. Ooh. So it's like whenever two notes play together, they produce a third note, okay? And that third tone is called an overtone. Why do I say that? Well, in a relationship, when two people come together, they produce a third life. When an authentic bond is formed between two individuals, they produce a third value, a type of spiritual overtone between the two of them. They produce a third life. They harmonize. When you harmonize with someone and you get that third value there, you get that overtone value, that extra life between you, everything is fucking magical. Okay? So, and this again, it sort of segues into the what makes a relationship work. But when you have two people working in a state of mutualism, they produce a third life form. And that third life form, if you nurture it and build it all the way up, it takes care of both of you. So the same principle applies when you're having sex with a person who you're bonded to. Your body goes on autopilot. Your body and their body goes on autopilot, and then all of a sudden, y'all are doing things and smelling and touching and tasting, and it's delicious. And it's like, it's everything that everyone is searching for through empty sex. You get that when you actually bond and connect with the person who you're actually bonded to. Like all that empty sex, just the chemicals you're searching for, you get a fraction of that shit when or if you are not actually bonded to the person who you're hooking up with. So I prefer to form authentic bonds with women who I connect with, man, for that specific reason. I think that's the best way to probably describe it. When you are actually bonded to someone, you go into both of you go into autopilot, and everything just flows. It just flows. So, and see, the thing is, that's not something that's exclusive to heterosexual relationships too. Like gay people, they can get bonded, they can form authentic bonds with each other, and the same thing happens. And that's the reason why I'm saying that reality doesn't care who you are sharing your junk with. You can form an authentic bond. If you're a man, you can form an authentic bond with another man. And if you're a woman, you can form an authentic bond with another woman. Reality doesn't care. As long as you bonded them and form that overtone value, it's like you can both go into autopilot and shit is magical. It's amazing. You know what I'm saying? I only know that experience with ladies, but yeah, it's like when you're in it, you sit back and it's like your spirit self will sit back and just grab some popcorn. It'll just watch you. You'll be like, look at me go. It's pretty fly. At least so far as I've experienced. So, hopefully I answered that for you well enough, Brother Absurd. I'm hoping that I did that justice. Again, for some reason, normally I'm a bit more dialed in than I am today, but it's like today I feel a little bit scattered. So I don't know what's up with that. But, I had some coffee a little bit earlier. That's my only problem. But, yeah, just if you are going to hook up with somebody, my suggestion is find somebody who you form an authentic bond with. I prefer situations with women who I actually form relationships with, because that payoff that is worth more than 1,000 snacks. That full course meal is worth more than 1,000 snacks. Only problem is a lot of times you go around hungry, you know what I'm saying, and snacks be looking good as hell. But, mental discipline, self-discipline. If you discipline your mind to only wait for the meals, you're never dissatisfied. So, anyway. Let me see. I got Brother Absurd. Okay, I think I've experienced only once before. Right. It's rare, bruh. It's rare. Finding an authentic bond with someone, that's rare. The reason for that is because most people are narcissistic. It's no one's fault that we're narcissists, We get raised, we get trained by society to think that we're all important and to assume that we're right and that everyone and everything should conform to and serve us. And unfortunately, a lot of times, a lot of people out here, they're looking for someone to come and serve them. So the only way that they know how to have sex with someone is if they're performing and they're trying to look like a star, or if they're laying back and waiting to be catered to. Because, well, in both instances, the people are raging narcissists. Like, in order to form a bond with somebody, you have to You have to be humble. You have to, and I don't like the word humble. You can't be driven by self-interest. Like, how do I say it? I'll say it like this. When your focus is the experience and not yourself and not the other person, then everything is magical, right? That's what symbiosis is. Symbiosis is an awareness for the system that agents are performing within, and then everybody taking care of the system and everybody getting taken care of in the process of taking care of the system. So it's just like a romantic relationship. If I'm with a woman and, she's like, maybe she's just as concerned with making sure that the experience is good for me as I am with making sure that the experience is good for her, then we create this thing where all of a sudden we just hit flow state together. And when we're in flow state, everything just comes together. That's what happens when you hit flow state with somebody. But unfortunately, just too many people are narcissists out here, so they want to be served. They want to be serviced, or they want to perform on another person in efforts to get that person to worship them and or become addicted to them, right? But that's how it goes most times. The reason why most relationships fail is the same reason why most people are displeased and dissatisfied with sex. Everybody's fucking narcissistic. Nobody knows how to fall back and nobody can hit flow state because everybody's too concerned with self-interest. Think about the bond. Dial into the bond and everything reaches flow state. Focus on yourself and on your experience and everything falls to shit. So hopefully I answered that well enough. Oh shit, I'm running over. But I'm so glad that y'all checked in. Brother Ash, Brother Absurd, man, I appreciate y'all. And thanks for kicking it with your boy, man. It's like, I think I could have been a little bit more dialed in, but maybe the caffeine has me a little out of sorts right now. My system, it doesn't take in too many stimulants too often. So, but anyway, man, I just want to let y'all know I appreciate y'all. I love you. Thank you kindly. And let's do this again real soon. Next time I'm a little bit before I pop it open. But yeah, that's what it is. Hey, it's your man Don King signing out. I'll catch up with y'all later. All right now.